Hello, folks. This is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing of March 7th, 2018. I have 7 strategies with my game, Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, what you're looking at is what I call the game card. This represents all 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 13, 17, 25, 36, and 40. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list. And then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I do the same thing with orange, green, blue, and purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. So for this drawing here, I have 14 red numbers, 12 orange, 17 green, 13 blue, and 13 purple numbers. And the number of colors change with every single drawing. Okay, so over to this right, this 208, this represents how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And these are the color code drawings, okay? So out of this 208 drawings, 112 have come up a 3-color combination. 74 have come up a 4-color combination. 19 have come up a 2-color combination. And only 3 times out of 208 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, this number right here, this number 3, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there was an orange, and 2 reds, and a green for 3 colors total. Okay, so how I use this is I try to guess what the next number will be here. Okay, so for me, I think it's going to be a 4. Okay, so when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want it to represent 4 colors. Okay, so not 5, not 2, not 1, but 4 colors. All right, so plus how I use this game is I like to reduce numbers. Okay, so again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. Okay, only 5 can come up as winners. So that means 64 numbers can't come up at all. Okay, so for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do. Okay, so to help me out here to reduce numbers, I'm going to turn to this right here. Okay, so again, hardly ever do all 5 colors come up together. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these colors won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that no blue numbers will be coming up. Okay, so those of you who watch my videos know that I've been picking blue for the last 5 drawings now. Okay, so I got it correct in the last drawing, and I just don't think that blue is going to come up again. Only because from this point down to this point, I just see so much blue that I think it's going to miss a couple times. Okay, so again, I'm going to eliminate the blue numbers off of the game card. Okay, so to speed things up, I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far with no blue numbers to it. Okay, so when I block out a number like this means that I'm not even going to consider this number when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on the Powerball ticket, which includes the Power Play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these blue numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my pick and none of these blue numbers come up, then I'm 1 step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. Okay, so how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number. Okay, and over to the right here are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Okay, again, it was the 13, 17, 25, 36, and 40. Okay, so that turns out to be a 4-group combination. So I'm going to reduce this down so you can see the whole card. Okay, and what you're going to see here is that there's 7 groups total. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9, and then it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, again for 7 groups total. Okay, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so 2 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings. Okay, so I like to break things down into 5, mostly because I can count back real quickly. I can say 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and so on. Okay, so another reason why I like to break it down into 5 is because my theory is that if there's lots of hits within this 5 drawings for this certain group, well, maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5, or vice versa. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that no 30 numbers will be coming up. And the reason why is because a 30 number has come up in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 drawings, and I just think that it's due to miss. Okay, so again, I'm going to eliminate the 30 numbers from the game card. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. And another way that I use this is I try to predict what number this is going to be right here for the groups. Okay, so I haven't seen a 5 come up in a little while. Okay, so I'm going to predict that this is going to be a 5 right here. So I wanted to, so when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I wanted to represent 5 of these groups. Okay, so not 4, not 3, but 5. Okay, so that's the strategy here. So I'm going to go back to the game card. I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far, with no blue numbers to it and with no 30 numbers from the individual numbers. Okay, so what I'm doing here is, again, I bet $3 that none of those blue numbers will come up from the color code. Okay, so now I'm going to parlay that bet with saying that no 30 numbers will come up from the individual numbers. Okay, so either call it parlay or you're adding on to that bet. Okay, so I'm going to do that a bunch of times. Okay, so I'm going to be picking numbers that I don't believe will be coming up in the lottery and reducing my numbers down to a more manageable guess. Okay, so off to the next strategy. Strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so basically what I did is I took all the white ball numbers and divided it into 4 different groups. Okay, and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so when the 5 white winning Powerballs come up, I record where they land within these groups down here in the stats. Okay, so for the last drawing, I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers were the 13, 17, 25, 36, and 40. Okay, so the 13 here is in blue. So down here in the blue, you can see that 1. And of course, that represents that 13. Okay, and then over here, the 17 and the 25 are both in red. So I put a 2 down here. Okay, and then the 36 is here in orange, so I put a 1. And the 40 is in green, so I put a 1. Okay, so when that happens, I call that a row, where I hit all 4 colors. Okay, so the rows are good. Sometimes it helps me if there's a bunch of single rows in a row, then I think it's going to double up like it did here. So if that happens, then I want to guess that all 5 colors are going to represent all 4 colors here. Okay, but the strategy is try to eliminate numbers. Okay, so over here, this 0 right here in the orange area. Okay, this is what I'm looking for. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed that none of these orange numbers were going to come up in this drawing here, I could have eliminated all these orange numbers and really reduced the numbers for myself. Okay, so I created 15 of these option cards here. And the reason why I created 15 is just to give me as many options as possible to try to pick where those zeros are going to pop up. Like this green one right here. Okay, so again, the last drawing, if I could have correctly guessed that none of these green numbers were going to come up, I could have eliminated all these numbers, and again, really gave me a better shot at picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so for this drawing here, I'm going to guess that option card number 7, no green numbers will come up. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is because you can see that this is the single zero, single zero, single zero. Well, every once in a while, these zeros double up like over here. Sometimes they triple up or even quadruple up, okay? But as I'm going down, I can just see a bunch of single zeros here, okay? So I just think that it's due to double up like here, okay? So again, that's what I think is going to happen. I think this is going to be a 0 right here. So I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to eliminate these green numbers off of the game card. Okay, so here the game card, this represents all 69 white ball numbers currently, okay? So the colors on the game card, these change. Well, here in group 1, these colors never change, okay? So again, this helps me able to predict what numbers are going to come up or not come up. Okay, so basically that's what I'm doing is I'm keeping track of numbers, okay, groups of numbers, and trying to predict whether they're going to come up or not come up in the lottery. Okay, so again, as I go back to the game card here, all right, one thing that I want to point out is the 65 and the 25, okay? Now, as I go back to the group 1 here, you can see that there's no numbers off to the side here. So that means the 65 and the 25 share this square, okay? So what that means is that if I decide to get rid of these red numbers here, I'm going to get rid of all these red numbers, including the 25 and the 65 as a group, okay? So as I go back here, as I go back to the game card, the reason why I have these numbers off here to the side and not this 25 crammed in with the 65 here is because of the color code. I know that the 25 is red and the 65 is red now, but sometimes the 65 will be purple and the 25 will be orange, okay? So I need some separation, and that's why I have this off to the side here. But if I get rid of the 65, if I get rid of all these numbers as a group, I'm going to get rid of the 25 and the 65 together, again, as a group. Okay, so as I go back, let me make sure that I scrolled over here. Okay, so this is all correct. So I'm going to go back to group 1, and my next pick is option card number 9, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is because it just has a lot of hits to it, okay? And here you can see this is doubled up, and usually when there's 2 rows together like this, usually there's a miss. Sometimes it will go 3 rows, you know, but usually after 2 rows there's a miss, and sometimes when there's so many rows like this, usually after 1 row there's a miss, okay? So I'm just going to predict that it's going to be this green one, just because it has so many hits to it. I just think that is due to miss, okay? So I'm going to eliminate all these green numbers off of the game card, just because I just don't believe that they're going to come up in the drawing. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far. So again, down here, you can see group 1, option card number 9, no green numbers. Okay, so you can see that I'm knocking down the numbers here. Okay, so if I'm correct with my picks, okay, and the key word is if I'm correct, then if I'm correct in saying that none of the numbers that I blocked out here are not going to come up, then that means that the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these numbers that are still left on the board. Okay, so it's back to group 1, where I'm picking my final one, and that's option card number 10, no green numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one here is because this 46 up here, this represents how many blue marks there are. Okay, so you can see that there's 46 here, and over in this column in the orange, there's 56, 53, and 65. Since the green is so far behind, I just think that it's due to catch up a little bit. Okay, so again, I think there's going to be a 0 right here. So I don't believe that any of these green numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so as I scroll over, this is what the game card looks like so far. So again, hopefully I made all the correct picks here, and that the numbers that I say aren't going to come up, hopefully they won't, and that will leave the 5 white winning Powerball numbers still left here on the board. Okay, so I'm going to go off to the next strategy. Strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope I'll miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so 3 of these groups won't be able to have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'll show you how I use this. Okay, so I'm going to point out this red area right here. Okay, so down here is the stats for the red area. So a 0 right here means that none of the 5 white winning Powerballs landed in this red area. And this 2, of course, means that 2 out of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, so here I like to keep track of every 5 drawings because it shows me a majority. Okay, so here you can see that there's 3 zeros. So when there's 3 zeros, I color this blue for cold. So when there's 3 hits, I color it red for hot. Okay, so 3 misses, 3 or more misses, it gets cold. 3 or more hits, it gets hot. Okay, so as I scroll down through, okay, you can see that this is what random looks like. Okay, so it got cold, and then it got really hot, and now it's kind of cold again. Okay, so the reason why I did this is because I want to see what's cold. Okay, what's cold and hot. So what's hot today is going to be cold tomorrow. That's just how random works. Okay, so nothing can stay hot or cold forever, okay? Especially when, especially being hot, okay? Because again, there's actually 9 numbers here with the 25 and 65, okay? But there's so many other numbers that can come up, all right? That this group of red just can't stay hot forever, okay? So, okay, so the strategy is try to pick one of these groups that won't be coming up. Okay, so for me, I'm going to pick from option card number 2. And there are 15 of these option cards as well. Okay, and they all kind of look the same as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. I used all these same colors within all 15 option cards. Okay, so you can see that the yellow is going this way, left to right, and over here the yellow is going left, up and down here. Okay, and then option card number 3, the yellow is here and here. Okay, so all these option cards kind of look the same. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other. Okay, so I'm going to pick from option card number 2. And I don't believe that any yellow numbers are going to come up. Okay, so here's the stats for the yellow. And as you can see, it's been really, really hot here. Okay, so I just think that there's going to be a 0 here, which means that I don't believe that any of these yellow numbers are going to come up in the next drawing. Okay, so I want to get rid of them. So again, I'm going to go do that through the game card. I'm going to scroll down here. Okay, so you can see group 2, option card number 2, no yellow numbers, and you can see that there's nothing here anymore. Okay, so again, this is how I weed down the numbers. All right, so I'm going to go back to group 2, and my next pick is going to be option card number 3, no blue numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the blue, and as I head down, you can see that things got really, really hot here. And now I just think that this is going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so I don't believe that any of these blue numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of these blue numbers off of the game card. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll to the left. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is option card number 4, no yellow numbers. Okay, so here's the yellow again. So as I scroll down through, you can see that things got really, really hot. And now I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, I don't believe that any of these yellow numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so you can see that this is where the yellow was. Okay, so as I scroll to the left, you can see that those numbers are gone. Okay, so hopefully they won't be coming up in the next drawing. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 2. And my next pick is going to be option card number 13, no red numbers. So again, I have 15 of these option cards to choose from. Okay, and all of these are going to have 3 of them that will have zeros to them. Okay, so that's just a mathematical fact. There's only 5 white winning Powerballs. There's 8 groups of numbers here. Okay, so 3 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so again, I think no red numbers are going to come up. So here's the red. So as I head down through the stats, you can see that things got really, really hot. And now I think they're going to cool off, and I think there's going to be a 0 right here. So I don't believe that any of these red numbers are going to come up. So I want to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, so I'm all done eliminating numbers here. Okay, so I started out with 69, and now I'm down to 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers. Okay, so again, the key word is if. If I made all the correct picks, and none of those picks are going to come up, then the 5 white winning Powerball numbers have to be within these numbers still left on the board. Okay, so this happened to me once before, and this is why I do this game, is I reduced the numbers down to 10 numbers, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within those 10 numbers. Okay, so when that happened, that's when I said, gee, I think I'm really on to something here. Okay, so the next strategy is what I came up with next after that. Okay, and that is the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at is the what I call the 50-50 picks. Okay, so again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so there's going to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side. Okay, so when I had that opportunity where I reduced the numbers down to 10, and the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed within those 10, I only got 2 correct. Okay, so this is when I created the 50-50 picks here to help me really pinpoint what I think are going to be the winning numbers. Okay, so how this works is this 252. This is how many drawings I kept track of so far, and that's since October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, So out of this 252 drawings, 128 have been the majority of odd numbers. 124 have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so for this drawing here, I like to break things down into 5, okay? And so I can see what the majority has been in the last 5 drawings and before that. Okay, so I can see there's a bunch of odds. Okay, so I actually think that this next 5 is going to be even. So I think that this drawing is going to have the majority of even numbers. Okay, so when I pick what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want it to represent at least 3 numbers that will be even numbers. Okay, so off to the next one, this high and low. I'm really having a hard time picking this one. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it alone. Okay, I have plenty of other things to pick from. All right, but here the low is kind of ahead, 128 drawings to 124 drawings. Okay, so and then I have left and right. This is a little bit closer. You can see the left has 125 drawings and the right has the majority of 127 drawings. Okay, and one more thing is I have this red and blue areas. Okay, and you can see that the red has been just really dominant here. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking that this is going to be blue right here, but I'm not exactly positive. Okay, so the next thing is this is what I have for the Powerball number itself. Again, this is that red ball number right here. I do have something for it. Okay, so in this column here, there's 26 red numbers total. Okay, so a blue number means that it's low, 1 to 13, and a red means it's high, 14 to 26. Okay, and over here in this column, red means that it's odds, and a blue number means that it's evens. Okay, so now this helps me because now I just look at the colors. Okay, so if one color has been dominant, like right over here, then, well, it's going to change eventually. Okay, so for this drawing here, I think that this is going to be red, and I think that this is going to be red as well. Okay, so for the Powerball, I think it's going to be a high odd number. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, I'm going to scroll to the left. And here you can see the only 50-50 pick that I made is I think there's going to be more even numbers than odd numbers. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from groups 1 and 2. Okay, so here I've been just picking from group 2 lately. Okay, so here I think there's going to be lots of hits in the brown areas of group 2. Okay, so what that means is as I go back to group 2 here, again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all kind of look the same as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other. Okay, so there's going to be 15 brown areas total. Okay, so I like to keep track of all 15 of these as a group. Okay, so I call it the group 2 overview. Okay, so I keep that over here. So I'm going to go to the group 2 overview right now. And this is what the group 2 overview looks like. Okay, so again, I'm going to point out the brown areas. The last drawing had 2 hits and 13 misses. Okay, so this was really the drawing that I really wanted to pick that the numbers won't be coming up out of, because there was only 2 of them that actually hit out of the 15. So as I go through this, okay, so here's the brown area right here. Okay, so you can see that there was a 0. And over here in the brown area, you can see a 0. And in this brown, well, there was one of the hits, one of the 2. Okay, so here's a 0, 0. Okay, so here's the other hit in the brown area. Okay, and all the rest are zeros. Okay, so here's again 0. Okay, 0. So I hope you get the drift on that there. Okay, so again, I think there's going to be lots of hits in the brown area. So what this represents is option card number 1. So as I go to option card number 1 here, in the brown area, you can see that it's the 6 down to the 62. Okay, so what's left here is the 14 and 22. So I wrote that right here for option card number 1. Okay, so as I go back to for option card number 2, it's the 41 to the 48. Okay, so as I go back, the 41 to the 48, there's the 43 and the 47. So you can see that I wrote that down there. Okay, so again, this represents all 15 option cards. And these are the numbers still left on the board for each of those brown areas. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. Strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so for this drawing, I'm going to go with the numbers of 7, 22, 23, 40, and 47. Okay, so with this combination of numbers here, this will give me 10 hits and 5 misses in that brown area. Okay, so I think that this is going to be a 10, and I think that this is going to be a 5, and since it's more than 8, it gets red. Like so. Okay, so hopefully that will happen. Okay, so I'm not sure if I explained that or not. The magic number here is 8. Okay, so if there's 8 or more misses, I color this blue for cold. If there's 8 or more hits, I color it red for hot. And that way I can look at the colors here and say, okay, well, here's 3 blue marks in a row. Maybe this is going to be red now. Okay, maybe it won't. Who knows? Okay, so as I go back to the game card here, again, I wanted to have a color code of 4 colors. Okay, so here's an orange, purple, green, red, and green. Okay, but 4 colors total. Okay, I also wanted a group of for the individual numbers of 5 groups, but you can see that this is only 4 here, so I didn't leave myself with 5 groups totals, so I can't have 5 groups total. Okay, so I really feel comfortable with the picks that I made, and I'm just going to stick with it. Okay, so again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 7, 22, 23, 40, and 47. Okay, folks, what I'm looking to do is I'm looking to build a community where people can share their picks using my game/system here. Okay, so if you're interested in using my game and would like to meet others using my game to share picks, then please go to my website, and that's www.patreon.com/decoding the Powerball. Okay, or if you'd like to send me some feedback, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Again, that's decodingpowerball@gmail.com. All right, folks, I appreciate you watching, and the lottery's getting big, the jackpot's getting big, so I want to wish you the best of luck with your picks.